And two, man, we back and we better. Let's get it.
We out here. We out here.
Daniels takes the snap, drops back, finds a man in the air. He's going for it all. Who else? Frank Darby with the grab. Are you kidding me? Darby, 84, a playmaker for the Devils.
Jaden Daniels takes this one, fakes the handoff to Eno Benjamin, unloads this one, deep bomb all the way inside the 5-yard line. Brandon Ayuk.
Daniels under center, fakes the give to Benjamin, now has to improvise. Jaden Daniels to Eno Benjamin, touchdown Devils. How about that for Arizona State?
You can't lose if you don't play anyone, Joran. Thanks for tuning in. House of Sparky, Zach Keenan, Joran Palacio. ASU is still 5-3 on the season.
Yeah, it's hard, like you said, it's hard to lose when you don't play. Also hard to win when you don't play. But that's just one of those things, right, Zach? I mean, it's always nice when you come after 2 straight weeks of losses to kind of just have a little relaxing.
And they had a more relaxed practices this week, did they not?
They absolutely did, and it's big for the mind and it's big for this show too, because now we got a lot of content to go over. So I hope everyone's strapped in.
First up, we got Ryan McClure taking a look at Keaton Slovis, a little more in depth in the film review this week.
After an injury to JT Daniels, freshman quarterback Keaton Slovis has had to take the reins in Los Angeles. And he's having a pretty impressive year. He's had 16 touchdowns with 8 interceptions, along with a 70% completion percentage with 7.8 yards per attempt. That's pretty good. This is him in high school. He went to Desert Mountain High School, and his offensive coordinator there was Arizona Cardinals legend Kurt Warner, and it shows. He looked really good this year for USC. His experience, his composure has been fantastic. Let's take a look at his strengths. He's fantastic in the pocket. He makes quick reads. He shows a fantastic ability to read defenses, and his playmaking ability has been very surprising. Let's take a look at a play here against Colorado. Right here, he makes a fantastic read. He recognizes it's man coverage with 1 high safety, and he reads the safety right off the bat, and he makes that quick read, straight, quick throw, back shoulder pass for a touchdown to his guy, Drake London. That's a fantastic play for the true freshman. Right here, he shows that he has great composure in the pocket. He pump fakes, looks around, keeps his eyes downfield, and he finds Drake London again for a first down. And right here, he's going to go to Michael Pittman. He reads the safety. He takes a shot downfield. That's a great throw in the clutch there in the 4th quarter against Colorado. And his playmaking ability, it's been surprising. And against 7th-ranked Oregon, he goes all around the field, making guys miss, and he keeps his eyes upfield, and he finds Michael Pittman yet again for a touchdown there in the 1st quarter. And obviously, he is a true freshman, so he has room to grow in a lot of places. His composure, when they've been losing, he's been playing not that great, and experience will help out with that as well. And his post-snap reads can be a little bit shaky. We see that here against Oregon again later in the game. Right here, he makes a pick 6, and it's a fantastic play by Oregon, fantastic defense from Oregon. But Keaton Slovis, he can make little improvements to pick things up on it. Right here, he's going to make the pre-snap read. He sees that he believes they're in cover 4. They were running it a lot in this game, but they're actually going to drop into cover 3 right when the ball snapped. And his mistake right here is he looks to the left and he doesn't see that safety drop down, and he thinks he has that out route over there wide open. He doesn't even see the safety in the flat, and he throws it right to him for a pick 6. This is something that only experience and only mistakes will help. He will learn and adjust as he grows. Right here, we talked about his playmaking ability, and he gets a little too confident with it right here. He's pump faking, he's trying to make guys miss, and he ends up fumbling here with 5 minutes left in the 2nd quarter with the lead in the red zone. That's something, once again, only experience will take over. But to be honest with you, he's having a fantastic season, and yes, he's a true freshman. The true freshman quarterback battle is going to be an interesting one to watch this week against Arizona State. But I think Slovis has the advantage over Daniels. Even though Daniels has played a little bit more, Slovis seems much more polished this year so far than Daniels, and I think he'll prove it on Saturday.
It's been pretty clear so far this season that this is a different Sun Devil team. No N'Keal Harry, Manny Wilkins, or Rennell Wren. But isn't that the beauty of college football? Fresh faces each year. This season, it's Jaden Daniels. The receiving core of Kyle Williams, Frank Darby, and Brandon Ayuk is still intact, barring current Patriot N'Keal Harry. Height isn't everything in football, especially at the wide receiver position. I'm about 6'3" for reference. If I played basketball, I'd probably be rostered about 6'4". Brandon Ayuk, the Sun Devils' leading receiver in touchdowns and receiving yards, stands at 6'1". Elijah Griffin will probably guard him as he's CB1 for the Trojans, 6 foot flat. Here's the big play. Michael Pittman Jr. Whoa. He leads SC in receiving yards and touchdowns, and he's 6'4". Kobe Williams, the corner who will look to lock down Pittman Jr., is 6 inches shorter than him. 6. Height isn't everything in ball, but it sure helps. NFL teams see wide receivers as super abundant. There's no reason to keep picking them up over and over and over. Maybe think that it's a little too far out to think about the NFL, but it shows the importance of height in football. Last year, Herm would tell Manny Wilkins, just toss the ball up to Nikhil. His 6'4" figure allowed him to grab it. ASU's Y and Z receivers, Kyle Williams and Frank Darby, are 5'11" and 6'1", respectively. USC's Y and Z, Tyler Vaughns and Amon Ross St. Brown, both 6'2". It's not everything, but look for the battle in the air Saturday afternoon, because that's where the game will be decided.
A very big game awaits Arizona State this Saturday afternoon, taking on the Trojans. And we bring in Jackson Zuber now from the Terrace. And Jackson, let's go over this USC team because they're known for their firepower offensively. They're known for quarterback Kedon Slovis. But Oregon, who they just played last weekend, was able to really lock them down and lock down their wide receivers. How do you think Oregon's defense was able to do that?
Well, Jordan, it was just complete domination by the Oregon defense. They controlled the game. They really stopped USC. They stopped Kedon Slovis. I mean, it was insane to be able to see those cornerbacks stop those wide receiver weapons that we know they have. Those guys are absolutely huge, and the defense was able to stop them. And it really didn't have to do, honestly, that much with the cornerbacks. They did do a great job, but it was the defensive line, the aggression they came in with, and they were just rushing Kedon Slovis the whole game. He had no time to make any decisions, and it led to a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, you make a lot of good points about how Oregon was able to really lock down USC offensively, but we've seen the Trojans and Slovis in particular really torch defenses earlier this season, including teams like Utah. How were they able to go ahead and get that done?
I mean, this offense can be absolutely explosive. Against Colorado the week before Oregon, Kedon Slovis threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. That is outstanding for the true freshman. And the week before that, against Arizona, they put up 40 points. Over 40 points. That's outstanding. And even in a loss to Notre Dame the week before that, they hung with Notre Dame. Not much can be expected from a true freshman other than doing that. And I got to say that they could be very, very dangerous for Arizona State this Saturday.
Well, Jackson, we've seen examples of where USC's offense has been both really good and really bad. They come into Tempe Saturday. Which one do you think it's going to be? Which team are we going to see take on the Devils and their defense?
Well, Jordan, I am no fortune teller, but if I were to just take a second and look into my crystal ball, I got to have ASU coming out with a lot of aggressiveness after the loss. 2 straight bad losses. I think they're going to come out very aggressive at home. They're going to get to Kedon Slovis, and they're really going to stifle this offense. And in the battle of the 2 true freshman quarterbacks, I got to go with Jaden Daniels on this one and have the Devils outshine the Trojans here in Tempe.
Well, one thing's for sure, it will make for a very interesting game come this Saturday. Jackson from the Terrace, we thank you.
While we might be enjoying college football now, the end of the season is quickly approaching. And with that comes the next logical step, the NFL Draft. Now, we spent a lot of time discussing ASU football this year, and even their future with so many young, talented players already on the roster. But we haven't looked past college. So here are my top ASU prospects for this year's draft. Let's start it off with the player I believe is the most likely Sun Devil to be drafted in 2020, Eno Benjamin. Now, I will say, Benjamin's not lived up to his expectations so far this season, but he's still been able to produce at a high level. 679 yards, 7 touchdowns, and an average of 4.4 yards per rush in 8 games so far this season. And yes, it's a drop-off from last year, but Eno's unique combination of speed, elusiveness, and raw power make him a 3rd or 4th round draft pick in this year's draft. Now, let's jump to another player that if you asked me last year, I would have not told you with any certainty would be in the draft come 2020. But Brandon Ayuk has had himself an impressive senior campaign, attempting to fill N'Keal Harry's shoes. Now, obviously, he's no Harry, but who is? Ayuk has established himself as wide receiver 1 for ASU this season, accumulating 740 yards with 5 touchdowns, including long ones like an 86-yarder against Wazoo, a game where he had nearly 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jaden Daniels' favorite target has shown that, despite some inconsistency, he's lightning in a bottle, and that can lead him to be a mid-round draft pick. Now, for the last player, I could have gone with a couple guys like a Chase Lucas or even a Jack Jones, but I decided to go with Cole Cabral. Now, Cabral's had an interesting 2019. He's been the heart and soul of an ASU offensive line that's been, quite frankly, bad. But that's not entirely Cabral's fault. The line has been riddled with injuries this season and has little consistency, which has led to Cabral being moved around and playing in positions that aren't his forte. Despite his surrounding, Cabral has still been able to collect Pac-12 Offensive Lineman of the Week honors and keep the line from total incompetence. With his ability to thrive in any situation and overall level of play, I believe an NFL team will take a late-round shot on the big man.
Well, it's really hard to lose if you have a bye week. We bring in Rob Warner. There's no post-game recap to talk about. So, Rob, man, I really want to talk about USC a lot today. And the first thing we have to address is them specifically and the game. So how critical of a game, how important of a game is this for not only ASU but also USC?
This is an important game for both teams. Both teams coming off a loss, ASU coming off 2 straight losses. And this is an opportunity for both teams to kind of get over the hump, get into being bowl eligible. We got 2 5-3 teams right now. Both teams that are out of Pac-12 South title contention, but 2 teams that have a lot to fight for. ASU, if they lose 1 more game in a row, that's 3 in a row. That's sort of a spiraling effect. They've had issues committing penalties and just self-inflicted wounds over the past couple weeks. This is an important test for ASU to see if they can bounce back and get closer to what we expected early on in the season when they started 5-1.
Right, so that's a great way to frame up the game as itself. But at the same time, we have to talk about the Trojans. What challenges do they pose as a team?
Well, there's a lot of them. And it's mostly on the offensive side of the ball with Keaton Slovis, the freshman quarterback. I don't think anybody really expected him to take off the way he has this year, but he's done a really nice job of that. And then you have to look at the wide receivers for this team. I mean, Herm Edwards was joking about it the other day, saying they're so big that they go off the screen. But, I mean, you got no starting receiver shorter than 6'2". Tyler Vaughns and Michael Pittman Jr., those are 2 really tough guys to defend.
Michael Pittman, 6'4".
Right. Kobe Williams, Jack Jones, Ashari Crosswell, they're going to have their hands full in this game, and it's going to be interesting to see how ASU and specifically Danny Gonzalez dials up that defense.
So now I'll ask you, how should they dial up that defense? What are some of the keys to the game for ASU? How can the Sun Devils pull off a win here? Because, as you've heard, they need it.
I think it's really limiting the big plays. I don't think it's going to take absolute home runs for ASU, but it's going to take them to limit them from USC because Keaton Slovis is very good at getting the ball downfield. Michael Pittman has the ability to make big plays all over the field. If ASU can limit those to maybe 2 or 3, I think it has a chance in this game, and then not getting absolutely killed in the trenches. ASU, its offensive line has gotten just bullied around over its past 2 losses. If it can do better in that area, give Jaden Daniels some time, Benjamin the ability to get out in space, I think ASU has a good chance in this ballgame.
Well, good chances. I'm sure ASU fans would like a win for once here. Rob Warner, a win in studio.
What a difference a couple of weeks makes. Just 3 weeks ago, the Devils were sitting at 5-1, tied for the top of the Pac-12 South with a chance to get possibly into the top 10 in the country. Now, at 5-3, ASU is in a completely new situation trying to get back into the top 25. What changed? Confidence. Like Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And against Utah, Jaden Daniels had pressure right in his face from the very first snap. We all remember his stat line from that game, 4 for 18 for 25 yards. And it seems he hasn't recovered, and neither have the Devils. For 3 quarters, they sleptwalked against UCLA, going down by as many as 32. 3 of the last 4 games of the season are at home, and the Devils need to get back home where historically they've been tough to beat. So for this week and the rest of the season, which team are we going to get? The team that beat 2 ranked opponents on the road, or the team that suffers mental errors and gives up erroneous penalties? The team that had a chance at cracking the top 10, or a team that is witnessing bowl eligibility slowly slipping through their fingers?
On Monday, Herm Edwards compared the youth movement that's encapsulated his tenure at ASU to his stint coaching the Kansas City Chiefs. And while his time there wasn't fruitful in his final years, it was more of a factor of an extremely young roster with no clear leader. ASU right now is in a similar but distinguishably different situation. Jaden Daniels is a player you build around, a generational quarterback talent that can take programs to new heights. And while the 2020 recruiting circuit is winding down, the Herm train is nearly full. But when ASU takes on USC on Saturday, not only will a win be crucial for its season trajectory, but also for its implications on the recruiting trail. There's been a major SoCal shift in the Sun Devils' recruiting efforts, and beating the team these prospects looked up to would be a major boost, especially having already lost to UCLA this season. Multiple ASU commits will be on campus Saturday, along with a slew of top priority targets that will experience a nearly sold-out crowd in Sun Devil Stadium. The question is, how will Edwards and ASU respond?
We've been saying it all show long that this is a big game for both teams, not only for the Devils, like you said, Zach, but for USC as well. So it's time for a big-time segment. You know what that is?
Oh, it's pros and cons.
Pros and cons. Let's just jump right in. Enough with the dilly-dally. Let's jump right in with my first pro for this week is that Arizona State plays to their competition. Whether it's been playing up to their competition or playing down to it, the Devils have adjusted where they've at. And it's been inconsistent, sure, but in games like this is where the Devils really shine. Playing on a big-time network, no more Pac-12 network. They're playing on the big TV. They're going to get a lot of ratings this week going up against a California team, another Southern Cal team. This is where ASU can really shine and really have that breakout game, Zach.
Yeah, and you're completely right. They got the game on ABC. That's national television, Jordan. There's no other way to say it. And I think that this game itself is just the con of it is that it's so big for USC. They need this win. They have 5 wins on the season. If they want bowl eligibility, their season's in this weird limbo right now. They need this win. They were just embarrassed by number 7 Oregon. And if they want to keep their season alive, if they want bowl eligibility, this one versus ASU is a must-win, and that's a con for Sun Devil fans.
It absolutely is, but Arizona State is in the exact same spot where if they get this win, they're in bowl eligibility too. And when you really analyze who you have two true freshman quarterbacks going up against each other in Jaden Daniels and Keaton Slovis. And I think the pro for ASU is that they have Jaden Daniels. This is really his chance to shine as a quarterback for the Devils. This is his opportunity to really leave a mark on this program because we've already seen him shine and have those moments, but this is his chance to really leave his lasting fingerprint on the season by picking up a big win against the Trojans here on Saturday.
And you're completely right. It's time for a bounce back. It was a minor setback, major comeback. Jaden Daniels, I think, is poised for the best game of his career against USC.
And only time will tell if that'll happen, but what we know right now, pros and cons is always a lot of fun here on The House.
Up and down the West Coast for some Pac-12 top plays. First up, Oregon State and Arizona, 2 teams that ASU will see, and it's Jake Luton all the way to Isaiah Hodgins diving into the end zone. That's a hustle play, Joran.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and it's going to be a tough game for ASU up in Corvallis, but an even better game from this past weekend. We go to Seattle, Washington, and Utah. Jalen Johnson, hello and goodbye. A pick 6 gets the Utes back into this game, a game they'd eventually win on the road.
And Joran, I think what goes unnoticed there is the blocking. He was untouched there. Great blocking by the defense. Check out this offensive line blocking, opening the way for DTR to Ethan Fernea.
Wow.
You see that grass mark? That's how you know that he put everything out on the field for that play.
A great throw and even better catch. Look at that, Zach.
Pac-12 top plays. Joran, we say
Wow.
week after week that they're going to be more impressive, and we're going to say it this week again, that they're always more impressive. Pac-12 top plays. This conference never fails to surprise me.
Well, sometimes they do fail, and that's winning championships, getting in the college football playoff. Oh, hey-oh, what a dig.
Who told you to be the pessimist?
What a dig. I know, that's just, I did the pros earlier, now I got to come in with a snide little con. But you know what's not a con? It's going to be this weekend. Arizona State taking on USC. What a game that's shaping up to be. I can't wait for it, and I can't wait for the show next week, but that's until next week. And for now, we are saying goodbye for Zach
before
Keenan.
you say goodbye,
excuse me.
I got to stop you right there because from all of us at the house, we want to wish our buddy right here.
What in the world is going on? What?
Happy birthday, Joran. From all of us at the house, happy birthday, Joran. Bring out the forks.
Bring out the forks.
Thanks for tuning into House of Sparky this week. Zach Keenan, Joran Palacio. We'll see you next week, but for now, it's a very happy birthday for our guy, Joran Palacio.